Hello and welcome everyone to Last Level Brass. I'm Mr. Black and this is my first 15 with Heroes and Generals, a new free-to-play FPS/RTS, or so it claims, released upon Steam a few days ago, and which I've been looking forward to getting around to playing for quite a while now. I've been following it on the Coming Soon tab of the free-to-play games in Steam, and it looks to be a sort of free-to-play Red Orchestra 2, which I very, very much enjoy, as you guys who have seen my incomplete, as yet, series on that know. I've read a few of the user reviews just to kind of get an idea of what I'm getting into, and they seem very starkly divided. So I'm curious to kind of weigh this game for myself. All that I know about it thus far is that it is, of course, a World War II FPS that is largely, I believe, online. I don't even know if there's a single-player element, because as with my series standard, I've never played this game before. You're witnessing my first 15 with the game right now. And it seems as though there are some claims of it being pay to win, so I'm going to make a point of investigating that particular aspect of the game, and others stating that despite that, the gameplay itself is still very entertaining, so we'll find out. Now then, I am now booting the game and have arrived onto the faction selection screen, so you do apparently need to pick a side, which I'm assuming picking right now means it's a permanent decision, which I'm not entirely fond of, but we'll find out. It does note that the Americans have a great deal more players, which may cause longer matchmaking times. So, in the interest of getting things rolling expediently, I shall choose the Germans, despite the fact that they are not exactly very popular. But they are my birthright, so I suppose we'll go with that. Give your soldier a name, or use the one given to you. No, I will not be going with that. I believe I shall call myself... Should I go with Kurt Wagner? No? I think we will go with Kurt. We'll go with Kurt Kinsmark. Yes, I like this. This we shall go with. Alright then. So, I am as yet unsure of exactly what there is to this game. I do know that it is, of course, your usual FPS experience that is, I suppose, added onto by way of the Generals system, allowing for a sort of like old-school Battlefield games with the commander role, allowing some players to take a more, I suppose, like zoomed-out approach to Battlefield control, which could be interesting, and which I understand is actually playable via mobile. I think there's an Android and I think an iOS version of the General's version of the game here. I don't know if that actually affects games that are in progress with PC users. It reads as though it would, but I've not really researched that at all, so if any of you guys know, do please feel free to clarify in the comments below. And why is this taking so long? I can only fill the air with filler commentary so long, game. Why are you synchronizing game maps when I'm not on a map? Come on now. Any day now, please. My god, the Russians are going to invade before you ever finish. No, it's too late now. The entire premise of the game is over because this has been going on for so long. World War II is already over. We're now into Vietnam at this point, so where's my Heroes and Generals 2 Vietnam edition? Let's roll that out. Because, sometime today would be fantastic. Come on now. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, God. I am not kidding. That was not played up for comedic effect. That took forever and a day. Alright, let's see. Enter battle. The easiest way to learn about the game is through experience. Click this button to join a battle. Finally, there's some background music, too. I was wondering about that. Yes. Enter the combat. And I've also not yet been greeted, it looks as though I might be able to now, to adjust any settings. So if this gets loud, I apologize in advance to all of you watching, especially those of you on headphones. Let's see here. Let the war server find suitable mission for your current soldier. Random mission. Fine, that works. Alright then, can I access settings while it loads? No. No. Why can't you matchmake in the background like every other modern game released in the last 2 to 3 years? Well, at least that didn't take terribly long. It did, however, crash my recording. Seeing as I'm now recording this several minutes later, thankfully I recognized that. I realized it about a minute into the match that I jumped into that you guys couldn't see. So let me recap the things that I did a few moments ago and check the settings before I jump into the actual game itself. Audio, I've now turned down, that way it will not be deafening, and there are more or less a bare bones assortment here. Master, sound, and music volume, as well as in video, a resolution slider, which I'm not terribly fond of. I tend to prefer drop-downs for that, and kind of minimal but acceptable graphics options otherwise. You have graphics quality, custom high, medium, and low, and a field of view that only goes up to 80, so for the purposes of not looking into a 60-degree corner, I've got that as high as it'll go for now. In the advanced tab, you've got shadow quality, object quality, cloud quality, and post-processing. These are, again, the essentially industry standard at this point, but I might like to see a few more options available. I'm not sure exactly what true full screen is, but HDR, fast particles, and FXAA are all supported. Now, that said, let us apply settings. There we are. Good. Back. And actually jump into the game. Let's see here. This would appear to be the General's menu. So, may I spawn in location? Yes, I can. Okay. Option deploy on foot. Good. Visible in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright then. This is about all I got to before, so don't worry. I have not spoiled my first impressions at all. This appears to be a sort of Battlefield-esque overlay. I like this HUD. It's unobtrusive while still granting me a great deal of information at my fingertips. So it looks as though, if I'm reading this correctly, there are a number of capture points on the overlay A, B, and C, along with what seems to be our faction spawn zone at present. And what? Hang on. What am I doing? What is this? What is this animation? What is this shenaniganry? Feel that shoulder. Throw it in there. Break it down now. Swank that lederhosen. All right, let's go. Let's not break it down now anymore. What are we? Let's see here. Is there a map to this game? Can I hit tab? No. That brings up the usual stat overlay. Is it M? Yes. Ooh, I like that. It actually gives me, and it interacts with the light. Cool. I've got a little hand map there. So which point should I go to? They're all in a line, it seems. It seems as though there's a front line forming just near B. So I think I will actually head for C, where there are fewer enemies. And I just heard a rifle go off right next to me. I don't know if that's good or bad. It seems as though the game looks pretty good. The lighting is not outstanding, but pretty good. Especially, ooh, I like that little, like, lens flare looking at the sun, because it's not quite blinding, but if you're staring right into it, that could affect things. And at least so far, the level appears to be pretty sizable. And I remind you all, this is a free-to-play game. So, whoa, no, whoa, ow, uh-oh. Kill the American. Okay, good. Alright, I don't think that other guy spotted me. Did I get hit? I'm not sure I got hit. Where's my health? Okay, down bottom left. Ooh. Hi there. I see you. Oh, no. Alright, good. He got hit, but he's not dead. Now he's dead. Good. Me and my, where's my Gewehr 43. Yay. Oh, there's another one. He's over there. Alright, so my plan to flank is going well thus far. Alright then. Good. We are neutralizing point B. Good. This is good. Sehr good. Alright then. Is there anybody here? Anybody here? Is it unguarded? Is there anything I need to do to capture the points? Other than stand here and look fabulous? No? Alright, well, that's good. I think I'm gonna reload. Just in case anybody decides to come and say hello. Alright then, can I prone in this game? Most games it's Z. Yes! Good! Alright then. I can get down below these sandbags. Actually, I'm not, because I want to... No, get up! I want to be able to see if somebody pops around there. Oh! Hi! No, die! What are you doing? Okay, you're dying, is what you're doing. Oh no! No! Ow! Son of beach! Alright then. Oh, there was a whole jeep coming toward me. Alright then. We shall spawn from there once more. And return to C, because I think I can actually take that if I really put Mein heart, soul, and boots into it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, these animations are a bit, jerky. They're not very smooth, nor lifelike. Oh my god. Oh. My hand. What is wrong with my fingers? Alright then, that's reminding me a bit of the, like, horrendous hand melody quality, the model quality, shut up, from, I forget the name of it, a game best left forgotten, an attempt at horror from some time ago. Now, enemy spotted. Where is he? I don't know. But, thus far at least, I'm rather liking this. And as the overlay in the top right, which I may have to fade out my face cam to show you, is indicating, this is claiming, at least, to still be a game in beta. Now, whether or not they are hiding behind that claim for the sake of forgiving bugs, errors, or any other such thing, is yet to be seen. Obviously, you all have seen all but my one bugged out minute with this game in terms of my experience with it, so I can't yet say with any definitive confidence one way or another whether this game actually does fit the bill of a beta or not. I do know, however, that microtransactions are present within the game. To what degree they extend, I don't yet know. And as I've said before, with the exception, which even that has exceptions in and of itself, of cosmetic microtransactions, I believe that if a company is accepting money for a product, whether that be microtransactions or for the base product itself, I can no longer in good conscience necessarily consider that to be a beta product, because unless it's a Kickstarter sort of deal, you're receiving a product for your money. However, you do so voluntarily, so there's a whole debate to be had there, which is not necessarily relevant to the game at hand. Now then, we are 3/4 of the way to success, and I've now got backup. This is good. And good. Now, move on B. It does seem as though this game is fittingly... Whoa! That was a bullet. I don't know where that came from. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I hear a lot of gunfire going on over here. Okay. So that guy just got shot. From where? Who shot him? Ow! Ow! The same guy that is trying to shoot me. I still don't know where from. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ow! Okay, that had to be a sniper. That was a headshot, too. Well played, sir. Nice shot. Alright then. Anyway, as just very well demonstrated, what the? Deploy queue. Waiting for 2 teammates to fall. What does that mean? I have no idea. But anyway, the game does seem to be sufficiently deadly, as in it's rather punishing when one is hit. And in especially a World War II scenario FPS, I find that to be a necessity to bringing in any sort of credibility to the experience, because obviously these men are not armored, and they are fighting with high-powered rifles. A little-known fact to those who are not fans of history is that the quote-unquote high-powered battle rifles of today are actually, for the most part at least, especially when it comes to Western countries, chambered in ammunition of a much lower caliber than the battle rifles of yesteryear, such as the Gewehr 43 and the American M1 Garands, which were firing at the time the equivalent of hunting rounds, whereas current rifles like the M4 chambered in 5.56 are little more than militarized, just barely larger than .22 long rifle rounds. But that's a discussion for another day, but one that does factor into the lethality and therefore the realism of the combat in a game like this. Anyway, battle report. Germany won the battle for Charlemagne Village in 947. So, victory. Good. Remaining lives. 299 versus 307. And I've earned... Ooh, okay, I need to take note of this. 2,855. With no premium bonus. So, earned war funds, 390. So, roughly 3,000, roughly 400. Alright, those are numbers that I want to know. And yes, I just had to make another hard cut in this episode. This will not affect most people, most gamers, but should you be so inclined as to record your experiences with this game, don't do so with fraps, as I have attempted to do throughout the recording of this episode. I've probably gone through each segment of this episode 2 to 3 times now, so calling it a first 15 is now disingenuous, even though it wasn't when I got started, because I've done this part now 2 or 3 times, because this screen will continue to run in the background even when players are in the middle of a combat match, which I'm sure is not necessarily good for performance, especially for those using lower-end machines, but also means that recording software tends to want to keep recording this screen rather than the one that the game experience actually transfers onto, meaning that you all would not have been able to see those things, as happened when I had to make my first hard cut, and now again after leaving combat and thinking that I was coming back to this menu when the recording didn't. So, I'm now going to very concisely, because I'm tired of repeating myself, revisit the topics that I've now spent several times attempting to do over and over again, and I'm getting tired of it, so apologies as well for the sudden change in demeanor. One of the things that you missed too is my new promotion to the rank of Überschutz. I don't know what that means, but it does lead me a little farther along the progression menu down here, and it looks as though as one levels, one will gain access to different classes. Infantry is the default. Looks like next up is tank crewman, fighter pilot, paratrooper, and then recon. And I rather like that. I might have liked to have had all classes available at the start, but that may very well simply be a vestige of my simply being used to games that do that, like Battlefield, and then having internal class progressions move on from there. So, not necessarily a critique, but something that's worth noting, especially if you are, like me, used to some of the other games that do present all classes available at once. Now then, last that I want to touch on for this game is its paid content. Again, I heard a lot of claims that this game was pay to win, and I don't yet have a really solid opinion one way or another. Let's visit the store and show you guys what I'm talking about. As gold goes, the paid currency, the rate is roughly $10 to 1,500 coins, roughly. And it will of course scale such that you do get more for your money as you decide to bundle more with what you buy. All the way up to 26,000 gold for $140. That's a lot, but the option is there should you be so inclined to do so. And in terms of what that means for what it costs to unlock things, jumping into the weaponry here, for instance, you can unlock new cosmetic skins and textures for existing weapons that you've already got access to. For instance, you can get the beechwood, the pepperwood, the carbon black, the autumn oak leaf, dunkelgrau, Gott mit uns, and the default factory tone, among others. And that's cool. I like the ability to actually cosmetically customize one's equipment, especially in a World War II FPS. Not many have allowed for much of any sort of cosmetic personalization, so that's actually rather nice. And moving on to other things, the melee weapons are quite cheap, and as you can see with the ribbon that will then do a hover over for things that one is not yet unlocked, you can click on that to go over to whatever ribbon progression, which are essentially sort of achievement progressions, to discover what you need to do to unlock it with in-game achievement rather than having to pay for it. So for instance, for the melee, at rank 4, the spade is unlocked. At rank 5, the Seitengeber, there we go. Let's see if I can actually pronounce these things. 98 is unlocked. And finally, the combat knife, there at the very end at rank 12, is unlocked. As for these other weapons, let's scroll down. Here we are. The Carabiner 98 Skurscopt. And that is unlocked at what rank? Let's find out here. Using bolt-action rifle. So this ribbon progression starts out unlocking bolt-action rifle ammunition, then a fast reload, then a rifle sight, then what else? The rifle barrel. These are of course going to be modifications for the existing weapon. And finally at rank 11, the scope version of that rifle. So, The question that I do not yet have enough experience with this game to answer is not yet whether or not it's pay to win, or rather pay to access all of the content, because this game, by all appearances and inspection, as you can see with these hoverovers, does allow for one to, by simply playing the game, unlock everything present within the game. There does not seem to be premium content that is just outright better, like some games have done in the past, and thankfully, a lot of games seem to be moving away from. The question is now, does one need to invest an inordinate and unreasonable amount of time to unlock these things? And I don't yet know, seeing as I've only played the one match, or rather 1.5, because the other one didn't get recorded, but that's neither here nor there. And that will simply come with time, and that may be something that I comment on in rounds 2 and 3 for this game, seeing as there's more here than I can cover in a single episode. I'm already over time at this point, and there's still a great deal more for me to cover. So, that said, I do want to, while I'm on this menu, touch on a couple more things, and note that vehicle unlocks are achieved by progressing through several of the other classes. For instance, infantry unlock the Kubelwagen, and some of the others. I'm going to now scroll around. And I should also note, by the way, that the first time that I tried to record this, I noted that I was mistaken at first, clicking on the soldiers menu, that on this menu, which would be what I would think should be the default menu to discover what one needs to unlock these things. I don't feel that's an unreasonable wish here. And yet, while infantry displays a credit cost and a gold cost, none of the others do. Note that those disappear as one clicks upon these. And at first, that led me to be very wary and very nervous of this, because it reads as though these classes are only available to those who buy them. Now that's not true, but the way that this menu looks, it leads one to think that it might be. I won't make the accusation that this is a deceptive UI, only that it is a poorly designed UI in that regard. Now, the retort to that is of course that on the default menu, there is of course a class progression system, but it still stands that within the shop, it's not very well indicated how one goes about unlocking these classes. So that's something that I would like to see corrected, and simply feature that little ribbon overlay, like put the ribbon down here right below their default equipment. There's even a nice little open space in this segment of the UI to let players know what one needs to do to unlock those classes. I don't feel that's an unreasonable request or an unreasonable critique. Now then, finally, moving into some of these other vehicles, what may I unlock? Nothing. Okay, I can't even look at some of the other weapons, the likes of aircraft, because I don't have the classes that they are relevant to. Alright then, now then. Moving on to some of these other things, membership seems to be more or less a premium sort of thing. It's a boost. You earn more experience, you earn more war funds, and you also get an extra combat badge slot. I'm assuming those badges provide some manner of passive benefit. I don't know. And they are purchasable via gold for rather stout rates. For 90 days, 3 months, that's looking like somewhere around $20 to $30. And that's the thing that I really want to comment upon this game for, is that may seem comparable to the rate that one might pay for an MMO to get a fuller experience out of it. And to unlock some of the things early, like all of the classes, for instance, in the game, and a few weapons, one might pay roughly $50 to $60 to unlock most of these things, simply based upon how many there are. And if that sounds familiar to the amount one might pay for a full-budget release title the likes of Battlefield or Call of Duty, that may very well be by design. I've heard the discussion and debate before that a lot of free-to-play games aren't necessarily meant to be completely free-to-play. They're meant to be a sort of piecemeal experience, that one buys the sections of the game that one wants and is sort of expected to pay that 50 to 60 rate that most games do. It just doesn't necessarily require you to. I'm not fond of that outlook, to be quite honest. Now, there is a debate to be had there about whether or not that's a viable means of looking at it, and whether companies should design games around that sort of mindset. That's not necessarily what I'm here to talk about, but it does seem, however, like to get a full experience right away with this game and not sort of grind one's way into the more entertaining aspects beyond being cannon fodder as infantry, that's the case. And that is worth noting for anybody interested in playing the game, especially for long term. Now then, lastly, we have the Generals aspect of the game, which I will only very briefly touch on right now, because again, I'm already over time, but which I do want to give a very quick primer on, having only barely explored it already. Assault teams are what really run that mode. They are the hinge upon which everything else runs, and it seems as though this is where there is a very heavy lean upon paid content, upon gold purchases, because let's actually back up a little bit and go over to the General's menu here. This is cool. If this looks like some of the old Panzer General RTS games of yesteryear, I agree, because all of these little command points are points of contention. They're sort of mini maps in and of themselves that, within the General's aspect of the game, one can contend for, and that's cool. But assault teams, I have none. And if I go here, I can then look at all of the command points. That's a lot! Obviously, one might want several assault teams to have a prayer of interacting on any sort of meaningful level throughout this map. So if I click upon my assault teams tab here, there's nothing. This is not just a menu that's still loading, there's nothing here, meaning I don't have one by default. And to click this, we return to the familiar menu at present. And that, your eyes do not deceive you, is 118,500 war funds. I remind you, I earned just over 300 in my single match in the actual FPS aspect of this game. That is an absolutely unreasonable rate of accrual for even purchasing a single assault team in essentially the second half of this game. This is an FPS/RTS by way of this system. And the RTS section is, with that sort of accrual rating, nearly inaccessible to those who will not then spend, instead, just about $10 to purchase a quick assault team. I am not fond of that whatsoever. At least, one can make the claim that one could participate in the RTS aspect of Heroes and Generals by simply grinding through a great deal of matches in the FPS. And I'm sure the elitist claim out there will be that one doesn't necessarily have any business being a general and controlling matches, unless one has gone through the motions of playing a lot of matches to really understand the game, and therefore the needs of those in combat. There's a small point to be made there, but not enough of one to completely restrict and shut out players that might be more interested in the RTS aspect of this game than the FPS. And there's very little argument that I will respect against that. Feel free to debate me in the comments below if you disagree, but know that it's going to take quite a bit to shake my conviction in that regard. So, in terms of what is available in terms of buying assault teams, there are fighter squadrons, guards, light armor, and infantry. These seem to have progression rankings within themselves. Obviously, because I've not spent money on it, I will not be able to explore this very much. This is about as far as I will go, considering I doubt that I will play enough of this game to get far enough to unlock the Generals mode. And especially because I've got Red Orchestra 2 at my disposal, I don't have much of a desire to do so. The FPS aspect of this game is solid. It's fun, however, I do find myself more attracted to the gameplay of Red Orchestra 2, but it is worth noting that that game is purchasable. One has to buy that. This is free to play. However, it is not necessarily free to win, free to excel at, or free to access all of in a reasonable period. And that's unfortunate, because I was really hoping that this game could do something interesting and special. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to. So while it may appeal to a very wide audience, and it may appeal to some of you, it doesn't appeal enough to me to keep me. The purpose of the first 15 series is to judge whether or not a game has that hook to keep a gamer coming back. It is not meant to be a comprehensive or holistic review. Bear that in mind. This is nothing more than... I almost tripped over that word, yeah. Didn't mean to say it so oddly. This is nothing more than a first impressions review. It should not be taken as anything more than that. But as my first impressions go, I am hooked enough to come back to explore a little bit more of the FPS aspect of this game to see if it is entertaining enough to just lead me to want to deal with the other aspects of the game, or whether or not it will shut me down entirely. So, because I am now well over time for this episode, I will leave that for rounds 2 and possibly 3. So, stick around for that here at Last Full Press. I'm Mr. Black, and as always, I wish you all good gaming and Godspeed. No words of wisdom from the master? Oh, I missed. Master will be angry with me.